Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. This is what it used to look like. I'm grabbing some archives here, October 2020. Eleanor Alvarez from Ganzorn Suites. They do long-term living, and I think this project was somewhere in northern Ohio. So we appreciate her gracing the cover. Let's see. This issue was let's see. This was 144 pages. Another good-looking issue. Where was I? Oh, I'm riding bikes with my kid before we sold the house, and anyway, yeah, we like the bikes, and nothing like riding with your kid, but. We went, the last issue I printed was August of 2021 when we had White Castle on the cover and haven't looked back since and made the digital transformation from print face to face to digital. And it's been an amazing transformation over the last 5 years. And last month had just under 8 million people that hit the website. And I haven't got my stats yet for this month, but my web developer said, "Hey, you're about 50 or 60% from where you were last month." So it's exciting. Every time when the last day happens, the next morning I come in and my web guy has my stats, and the first thing I go, "Where was that?" And it's just going up, and that's just moving forward. I mean, I'm happy that way, but increasing your stats, it's unbelievable. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and you're out there playing. And even though if you're a regional guy or a small guy, when you have a website and you're out on the wild wild web, you're a global company. It's just the reality of it. And there's 8 billion people on there. Why shouldn't they do business with you? And then one of your competitors and stuff. So it has been an amazing ride. If I would have said I would have been a digital guy way back when, I would have said no way. I was old school. I loved having the magazine in my hands and everything else, and but very, very scary. But don't miss the printer, don't miss the post office, and it just really, really has been an amazing ride. And listen, you can teach all dog news tricks because I thought I knew a lot about digital. I had to take a sabbatical in 2023 and get certified and thought I knew everything and I didn't. And you can definitely technology can't be fearless. You got to be blow through it and make your mistakes. It's push button 101 once you learn how to manipulate it and what you like and what you don't. It's an amazing thing. And for all you out there that find our content, we really appreciate you. Couldn't have done it without you. So you're all gold in my book, and really appreciate you finding us on the web. But today's the start of the week, Monday, last week of March, and the first 3 months in Q1 is over, and April 1st is waiting for us to start the second quarter. And it's never a dull moment. There's so much going on in the world today. It's an amazing time to be alive. History's made every day. I have to kind of look and see at night before I go to bed. When I unplug, I kind of look and see what's going on, and then I'm like, wow, all that happened today. I was busy. I'm just, I can't, I used to in the past, I'd be looking at my phone. You know what? I don't have time for it. I just do it later at night, or if I'm out doing my run, I'll kind of look and see what's going on. But there's just so much stuff going on in the world today. I can't even keep up with it. That's why I kind of just like doing the scroll. Okay, I know what the heck's going on. And, uh, you know, kiss this day goodbye, say goodnight, and wake up. And hopefully you wake up in the morning, you have another great day. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, but today I've got one of my editorial board members. It's been on the board forever. Clinton Brooks Herman. Brooks, say hello to our listeners out there in commercial construction coffee talk.
David, I appreciate your time and glad to be here with y'all today and get a little bit of time. Hey, you started it off great. Incremental improvements every day. I know we're going to be guiding into that today, but it
Yeah,
is, you definitely want to stand there and incremental improvements. And yes, you can teach old dogs new tricks.
yeah, yep. It was a big weekend because Friday night, DU they went into the NCHC and they beat Colorado College, and then they had to play ASU, which they beat ASU beat us 3 out of 4 games, and that's become a serious rivalry. They hate each other, and it gets very chippy. But we took them out in Duluth, Minnesota, and then they had to play. Let's see, who did they lose to? It wasn't. Oh, it was the Broncos, Western Michigan, and they beat North Dakota in the semis, and they actually had the season title. and they were down 3-0. And they had actually could all D was up 3-0. They could have gone up 4-0, but they called an offsides. And then the third period, they didn't play. They let the Broncos come back in. They tied it right at the end of the period, and then they went into two overtimes, and then they got the goal and won the game. But anyway, D was they were ranked in the top five all year long, so I knew that they were going to get into the national tourney, and so they're playing
It takes a
Providence.
heck of a lot to be a great athlete and be able to continue just to even make it that far. Be in the top five, then on top of that, trying to continue through the season when you've been beaten and broadened all the way through, and just it's rough being an athlete. It's rough being project managers and being in
Yeah.
construction. So
Well,
it's all of our jobs are day in and day out. It can kick your bum. So
well, it was a crazy night because I told my wife, I go, look, uh, DU's playing, the Ice guys are playing on Friday night, and then Saturday night, DU was playing Duke down in Dallas, and I think Duke was ranked number 7, and we had fallen out. We're 4-4. We fell out of the top 20, and we hadn't beaten Duke since 2017. And the Pios went down there. I think it was 13-6, but they were crushing them. And they showed up and played their A game and took it to the Blue Devils. And the Ice guys, they had already lost, but they were already in the tournament. And then my local professional lacrosse team, they went out to Vancouver. They were up the whole game, and then once again, they kind of fell apart in the last quarter, and they lost 14-13, and now they're on the bubble. There's only 3 games left, and only the top 8 teams. And I told my wife, I was like, "Oh my God!" On Friday night, I said, "Look, we got to go get a lottery ticket. The Ice guys are winning. I know the Pios are going to win. They're going to get it done tomorrow on the lax screen at a high school field in Dallas, and then the Storm. It's going to be a great weekend. We got to go get a lottery ticket." And
I was saying it's a couple $100 million. Why not?
yeah, yeah, and I always say if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win. So I went down there, and so I went and got gas, and then the lottery. She goes, "Oh, my computer's down," so I had to go inside, and then I was waiting. I was like, "Oh," so then I got back for the game. I'm watching it. Boom, they go down, and then the Lax team won, and but just it would have been an unbelievable night on DU campus if the ice hockey team would have won, and then if the Lax team would have won. But
Can't win everything.
no, listen, it's one
Let
of
me
those
try
things.
again.
I look at, we were just talking before we got in here, March Madness, Brooks is an Aggie, 12th
Dig
man.
'em.
And we just said, hey, they needed to play the whole game. I said, yeah, I just lived it all weekend.
Yep.
The Lax team, the other teams, they didn't play the whole game, and they got the L's on the scoreboard. So, uh, look, you either win or you learn. You don't lose.
Yep.
Losing is not even in my verbiage anymore. It's you win or you learn, and you can't change the scoreboard. So don't look back. Only be looking forward and keep your momentum going. So today's kind of a different gig. Uh,
Yep.
we're going to talk about certification and how important it is, to separate yourself from your competition. And I've known Brooks forever, and he's built a lot of stores and a ton of stuff. And so I'll let Brooks just take it from here. Tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Sure. So today we're going to talk about Pure Project Manager, which is part of the Pure Management Alliance. And going back to kind of what you were saying, introducing me, I mean, I've been across the board. I've done the K through 12 construction. I've done small box retail, large box retail, tilt wall construction. I've more recently, over the last decade, done higher education and even more recently floated into the healthcare industry. So um, part of Pure is projects under realistic expectations. And having gone through all these different types of projects is where I got called in and asked if I'd be willing to be an instructor for this new credential that a renowned trainer was out there in the industry called Joseph Phillips. Some of y'all have probably read his books or come across his trainings and you didn't even know. He's on Udemy. He's got books on Amazon, and he's infamous like our David Corson here. Everybody knows him, and you just don't know that you already know him. So um, it's been a great opportunity too, just with Pure and getting out there and being able to actually talk about realistic expectations and not just the theory most of the programs and most of what we go through with our degrees that we might get, or the books that we read, it's all about the theory of project management, and we want to know actually about the reality. How do we actually focus in and have incremental changes? Like we talked at the beginning of this, how do we have incremental changes to make ourselves a better project manager every single day? And that's part of what the Pure program does, and Pure Project Manager Credential, where every day when you walk out of having watched one of the online courses, you should have an actionable item that you can make improvements for not only yourself, but your employer that you're working for. Maybe it is yourself. And I've seen where there's discussions in the program with the different trainers, which we have over 20 different trainers from the industry of project management. Some of them are, uh, if you will, professionally trained. And then some of them, myself, I've not been professionally trained to be an instructor, and I'm in there just teaching it how I know it and how you can utilize it. Now, uh, one thing I do know, just because I do things in project management one way, that doesn't mean that's the right way. The right way is the way that works for you and gets the project done for your client under budget and on schedule. And I think, David, you're getting to have some firsthand experience with that on your own personal home you're working on.
Yeah, we were the project manager. We're about a month out, and it's pretty much the Lego set right now. I have the guys finishing the bathrooms, and once they get that done, they're gonna start anyway, they're gonna start finishing the shelves, put in the electrical. I got my driveway I've got to pour, my fence, and my landscaping. Now that's going in here over the next week to 10 days. And then just the appliances, floor, and done. And we I'm actually going to go and get my contractor's license. I'm going to take the test in Georgia, and not just for residential. I'm going to take it so I can do some commercial. The big rage right now is barn dominiums, and
Oh yeah,
I've hooked up with a metal guy and another guy, and we're starting a metal company and metal building gig. Anyway, it's all the rage, and but I had to do the same thing. I had to find someone to pull my permits, and he said, "Look, I don't have to. I just have to pull your permits. I don't have to build your house. No, we'll be we've got all the subs. We're going to do what we want it for our portfolio, and it's either going to be my wife or myself." I told her, "Look, I'll just take it and be done with it. Even though it's her company." And but it's been a learning experience. We started, let's see, I got my permits. Took me about 4.5 months to go through the permitting process, May, and then we did some revisions on the plan after the land was cleared, and started building in August, basically. And now we're just at the tail end of it, and getting ready to get the house that we're living in cleaned up and sell it, and then move in May before the heat comes in here in June.
good idea.
I always move in the summer. I told my wife, I'm like, I am not moving in June again. It's hot, and we just want to do the nice smooth gig, clear all whatever clutter that we didn't do on the last move when we sold the trophy house back in 2021, and go up there, be paperless, and just have it be like a surgical center, inside. But no, I love building. Come from a construction family, but totally going to get my contractor's license and listen. I hear there's a shortage of homes in the United States, so we're going to build
No
some.
better time.
Yeah, exactly. And but hey, listen, I learned something new every day. I drove my subs crazy. If I didn't, know what the slurry was in the concrete or why they were doing something, I was up there videoing, asking questions. If you don't know, ask, then you'll know. And there's certain ways that they like doing things, and the way that I wanted to do things, and the way that the construction loan person wanted the paperwork done. So it was all a learning experience to me, but. Nothing like, look, I'm a builder. I come from a construction family and demolition recycling. I built this magazine every month. I built that now, next month, probably the middle of April, that house will be finished and we'll be able to say we built that. And And listen, there's some things that I probably would have done differently. You can look at things on CAD all day long, but until you
Yep.
really go out there and you see stuff, and you're always going to have little things that happen on the construction site where, oh, maybe we need to move this and that, and but you just have to roll with the punches. You can't blow things, don't make mountains out of molehills. Things are going to happen on it, and where you just have to make a decision and move on. And then maybe if you're doing a future project, you'll have that in your knowledge vault where you can say, you know what, I think we know, I don't think we want to do it that way. We want to do it this way. So, uh,
Well, and I think if you would have done the pure project manager before this and then done it after, you'd see completely different aspects. It's no different than you read a book today and in a year you've grown as a person. You read that book tomorrow, you get a completely different grasp of what all the areas of capabilities you'll learn from. So,
it was funny a couple of years back. Uh, I had someone that was they were speaking at at a project management gig, and she couldn't attend, so she called me up. She's like, "Hey, will you stand up? Will you stand in for me?" And I'm like, "I'm not a project manager." She goes, "Oh no, I've heard your story. I've seen you speak. Go in there and just tell your story or whatever." So I told my kid, I said, "Come on, I need to get this recorded, in case I ever want to go in the speaking guild and tell my story." But it was a great experience, and all these people, they were all sorts of, project managers and all sorts of different things that, listen, you could be a project manager for weddings, construction, industrial facilities, apartments. Listen, everything is management. Your marriage is management. Your business is everything you do is you manage something. So, uh, it was eye-opening, but really, if you can get into your psyche and just know that you want to learn something new every day, and you like what you do. That's the most important thing, and a positive mindset, you can get anything done. and
oh
um
yeah.
it's just you look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did my best, and all I can do is try to do better. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better than I was the day before, and I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. I hope I said that right. So
Well, no, and I think the pure credential that you receive after you've done the 60 plus hours of continuing education that you can utilize for other different certification credentials, renewals, PDUs, if you will. The Every day you're going to walk away. You've got a year access, and you just keep plugging through each of the courses, through the different 20 instructors, over 29 courses, the knowledge that you'll gain that will help you towards your project management career, whether you want to jump into project management, your mid career, or you've been in this. We've actually had somebody that's been in the industry for 50, 60 years in project management, and they took it and they're like, I didn't think I could learn something new, but I did. That individual's Lee R. Lambert, with he's one of the original founders of a very well-known project management credential that's on the market, and he's jumped in full speed ahead with us because he agrees there's some of the programs that are out there, they're just too narrow, too focused on what they're looking at, not focusing on overall encompassing. And Dave, I know you've been a big supporter of the our military forces and everything over the years that I've known you, and we've got a couple of vets in here, and the knowledge that they produce. I didn't know how much project management plays into how our military is run. It's
no,
not
yeah.
called project management, but it's there. It's
Now,
all
look,
there.
the athlete in me, yeah, listen, if you're a coach, I don't care if you're a head coach or an assistant coach, the equipment manager, whatever it might be, it's all about, game prep, how you're gonna run your practices that week, how much tape you're gonna do, how you're gonna heal your bodies, how you're gonna feel feed your body. What happens if one of your stars gets nicked up in practice? You got to change on a dime and have a backup plan. But project management, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. If you're going out to cut the yard, or you're building the house up on the lake, or you're building a magazine, or you're building a healthcare facility, or you're dealing with trying to figure out how you're going to keep your dog calm as you try to clip their toenails. All of that it's all project management. And life is project management. I mean, I
Yes.
just kind of look at it every day. I get up and and do my thing and have fun. And at the end of the day, try to unwind and catch some REM sleep and be able to do it the following day. And some days you're gonna win, some days you're gonna learn, and some days are gonna be bright and sunny, and other days are gonna be tornadoes and lightning. But it's your responsibility to make those yucky days nice days, and
Yep.
uh, and using what you've learned in your experiences, whatever it might be, military, athletics, business, relationships, you can take those things and you can apply them, and you're that much, the more you know, the better off you're going to be. So you can make a
Yep.
rational decision, in my opinion, right?
Yep. Well, and my actual course that I put together for Pure is the why adaptive project management matters. It's pure adaptive project management strategies. How do you adapt? How do you deal with change every day? We all deal with it. When none of us like it. We're all humans. We don't like change, um, and that's how to get into it and actually think about the ways to adapt and train your team up and be prepared, how to have them be agile, and not necessarily truly in the agile term that people think in agile project management, which is typically a technology based project management world, but being agile, not just thinking in a waterfall method and keep going through. I'm sure you were looking on your own home and as you're building it, thinking, what can I do to make this faster? How can I make this better? How can I? And that's what being adaptive and what Pure is about. It's always thinking about uh, the. Sorry.
You're okay. I'll cut that one out.
Yeah, you're good. But it's just being prepared, and we've got this put together where it's an online, self-paced, interactive content, short lessons, and there's actionable tools that can be utilized. And it's all coming from real examples, real voices, and real expectations. So,
I'll give you a real life. We had to get our major inspection done where they did the framing, electrical, mechanical, and electrical. Uh, anyway, they came in and they had to test the bathrooms to make sure that the showers weren't going to leak. So uh, we had to put in the mortar and some liners. We only have one tub. Well, there's a decorative tub. I don't think anybody's going to get into it, but we have to have one tub in there. So we have one tub. The rest were all
use it
shower.
once.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't gotten in a tub, God knows how long. I think it's a waste of water.
Epsom
Anyway,
salt, man. Epsom salt.
yeah. So anyway, I looked at the guy and I said, "Why are you putting in the liners now?" And the inspector said, "No, they wrote a new code for the county. Every county's different. There's 159 in the state of Georgia. Anyway, he goes, "No, we do it now." And my wife's like, "Look, I've done a ton of remodels, and you never ever do the showers before the drywall's finished because the liners are just going to get coated with dust and dirt and whatever, and you're just going to have to rip it out. It's a waste of money because you have to pay the plumber, not the shower tile guy to come in and do that, and then they got to rip it all out." And I called the chief building official for the county and I asked him, and he goes, "Look, I'm just a messenger, but that's the way I do it." I go, "Brandon, it just sounds backwards because you're wasting, only if you used a certain Schluter system, they said you can do it this way." But they had just written the code, and my wife, she's done plenty of residential stuff. This was our first ground up, but she said we never ever do that. That's just who wrote that code? It just doesn't make any sense. He goes, "Nope. If you want to get approved, this is the way it's got to go." So I told the inspector, I had a third party inspector that we hired because we wanted another set of eyes on just what was going on.
Yep.
So he had never heard, kind of that. And the one inspector goes, "Oh, no, look, we don't want anything. My job here is not to penalize you. My job is to make sure that your house is safe and that it doesn't, flood." And I told him, I said, "Look, I'm a hybrid. I own the land. I'm building the house. And I'm going to live in here. The last thing that I want to do is have one of my bathrooms leaking or the gas line leaking, gas. I mean, I'm not going to do that." He goes, "Yeah, but there are other contractors that don't give a crap. They just want to get it done and move on. So you got those bad apples that are giving all the good contractors, kind of a
Sure.
a bad name, call it what you want, a reputation. And but so I just went through it. But when the tile guy came, he goes, "Oh, we're gonna have to rip out the liners." And I said, "I know it's the county." And but you just have to go with it. If you went to the county over it, they probably don't do it that way. And
Hmm.
but uh, it was very calming when I heard that because the guy goes, "Look, you and I are going to see each other if you're going to do more builds. You'll know how I want to see things. You'll be able to tell your subs, look, I think I had 24 items that were on my punch list, just cosmetic stuff. I had to have a rope on one of the HVAC ducts. I mean, it was just all little stuff. And I think the flue, I had to move it out a little because it was too close to where the wood was, and he
Uh-huh.
wanted to have and not touching any wood. Anyway, I said, look, we'll get it done. And but the liner thing really bugged me because it just didn't seem right. But I guarantee down the road that'll be changed because enough people will probably complain, or they'll come up with a new system where it won't
Yeah,
matter. But
definitely.
I just said, well, look, you and I are going to see each other, so I appreciate that. And now I'll have the conversation with the subs that we're going to run with. And look, you can't get anything done without your subs. And if you have good subs, you better buy them pizzas here and there. You better treat them right. My wife loves her team. Now we have a roofer, we got a concrete guy, we have a grader, we have a nice team, and we pay everybody, and we don't nickel and dime them because they're excellent at what they do. And but certain things, the biggest thing with the municipalities that from a project management standpoint, some of these
Yeah.
people have been there 20, 30 years and they don't know
Hmm.
what the other guy does. And even though they're in the same parking lot, they don't know that's the biggest thing that can be. Permits should not take 4 months. In the county where I built my house, they said 2 weeks for my septic tank and another 20 days after the Environmental Health Department approved your septic tank. Then if your plans are perfect, I don't care. It's going to take a couple of months for them to approve it. And first I had to change my address, then they made me move my septic tank, and I forget what else. And but getting it was great. But really, the permitting process, if it was done with technology and software, they could get it done so much quicker. And
Sure.
and as a builder, I just want to get done, starting the
Want to
house.
go? It's
Yeah,
time to go.
exactly. Yeah. So, but you can learn out there, and you can also learn by watching people, videos, as well as studying books, just like you got what you're promoting. Correct?
Yes. No, it's all out there. I mean, you can get in the field and actually learn it that way, which you have to. No, nothing that you learn online or through training is going to help you unless you truly understand the hands-on. You have to be in the field, and that's where you take that knowledge that you've done there, or you kind of know, like you said, everyone does project management. You just don't know that you're doing it,
Hmm.
and getting all that put together. And then when you start seeing these videos, you'll actually be able to see oh, I have been doing project management. That PowerPoint I put together for high school was a part of project management. I was doing group projects with my teammates in college, and they all it all comes together. It's all project management. Some of us are good at it, some of us not so good. Some of us can, but everyone can continue to develop their skills. Whether, as you discussed on the certifications and credentials, you should always be trying to improve yourself, and that's where Pure stands in today, and um, truly setting itself apart.
I'll tell you, the biggest thing building the house was just maintaining all the paperwork, keeping the lender happy. We always had to get the lien
Mm-hmm.
waivers done and making sure that we were staying on schedule. And my folder just gotten thicker, thicker, thicker. Now it's yo thick. And my wife, she goes, "Oh my God, that's all the paper." I'm like, "Yeah, you don't see all that stuff. See, you yell at me at night, why aren't you coming to bed?" I'm like, "I'm finishing up here. I'm trying to stay on top of it and to make sure we know what our cash flow is, everything's going on." And the subs, they sing a thing like one of our framers, he sent me, "Hey, you didn't get this invoice to me." And I looked at it and I'm like, "Dude, you didn't do the columns. Why is that on there?" And I didn't question meanly. I just said, you didn't do those. We had someone else.
Sure.
I probably should have had him done because it was a little cheaper, even though the columns turned out really, really nice. We had them built for the outs, underneath the front deck and the back patio. But uh,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. And I kind of was, but after this is done, I'll be able now when I condense it, I'll be able to condense some of those things so it's not as thick. And everybody's got to find and kind of have your own groove of how you want to do things. I kind of took it like from building a magazine that, I've got ads, I've got editorial. The artist has this, and you want to make sure everybody can get, whatever they do, they know what they're doing. But now that I've done it, now I can go back and say, wow, I don't need to have that thick of a file. I can combine some of these categories, maybe have subcategories, but be able to, get it down where it's manageable. But you got to paperwork. It's construction. And
Yep.
uh, that's the biggest thing. But communication, if you don't know something, ask, and then you'll know. Don't be ashamed if you don't, because God, I don't know. Listen, I learn every day. Listen. Like I said, I'm an old dog, but I can definitely learn new tricks. But if you don't know, ask, and people are not going to penalize you, or they're not going to look down at you or call you stupid or why you should know that. Hey, listen, I just ask, why are you doing that, or why do we have to tie that down? And so I was very inquisitive during this whole process, and uh,
Communication's key, that's for sure. I mean, we have two of our trainers alone. The courses are based around communication, and you would think that it ends up just repeating the exact same thing, and it's actually complementing. And they did not get together to have any discussions to see, hey, you don't talk about this, and I'll talk about that. It's funny how communication can be taken so many different ways, and truly understanding how to communicate. I mean, David, you have a voice. You have it out here on your podcast, and that's why you continue to do that. You built your voice with your magazine, and being able to convey what you mean through your words, whether it be on paper, or I guess you are online now, but or in communication like you and I are doing verbally right now. So it's all there, and it takes a strong capabilities in order to be the best project manager out there. So
so if someone wanted to find out, about, credits or certification or whatever, how would someone, if they're just thinking about it, or I've heard of these other organizations that are out there, maybe that's the route that I want to go. Maybe you want to get, your construction license, or maybe you're in a different sector, but, management is key to getting things done. Uh, where would someone go where you're pointing them?
So I would definitely be interested in connecting with anybody that might have the want and need and desire to become a better project manager, and they can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Clinton Brooks Herman. But then for Pure, if they have a desire just to get into Pure and learn more about it, I'll give you the link, David, so you can put it out there. But www.cbherman.com/pure, Pure, will take them straight to the link that they need to go to, and get them into the Project Management Alliance, or Pure Project Management Alliance, excuse me, get them into Pure Management Alliance, and then they can start reviewing about Pure Project Manager credential and the different capabilities. And I'd be glad to help with any questions, comments, concerns, and guide, especially it's centered around project management. If you get into some of the ancillary details of different industries, I may not be able to help, but I'd be glad to throw in whatever information I can provide to help guide people in their careers, and make sure the project management industry is doing the best it can for all industries, and specifically in this case for commercial construction. We want our coffee talks to be strong. So
Listen, being a project manager, it doesn't matter really what industry. I just had a brand last week. He reached out to me and he's like, "Look, I'm not one of the big boys out there. I'm looking for someone that's smaller that can take these things. I'm making a branch out into a new demographic, out west, and just want to have someone that, has the same vision, and I don't have to deal with all the huge organizations or like, big Air Force carriers and they turn. It takes them so long to make that turn or to get things going. And
Yes.
so I threw a couple names at him and boom, he's like, oh man, this was perfect. This was the perfect person I was looking for or company. And you don't have to be the biggest of the best. You just have to have that synergy and the same vision as people have and have that get her done attitude that you want to get things
Yes.
done right. And listen, you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. You know,
Yep.
I'd rather have someone make a mistake and learn from it than pull back and not make the mistake and your project or whatever you're trying to get accomplished, is going to be affected by it one way or the other. You just kind of have to let things happen and go. But yeah, like I said, this whole year, the fact that my wife and I are still married is just amazing that we built this house together because, she's like, you don't know anything about color. And I'm like, babe, I do color every day. I'm laying stuff out. I'm switching ads. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I always go back to my artist or my editor. Hey, I don't like this tagline. I don't like this. As the publisher, believe it or not, I read everything. I lay out everything. I decide what I fix the Xerox machine. I take the trash out. I can post. I've known everything. I've been around for 25 years, but I'm kind of set in my ways. But I always like to, learn stuff that can kind of, make things easier. And technology, I've absorbed it because if you can use technology today, that
Hmm.
technology today, especially with AI, is at warp speed. So everything that you learn today, 6 months from now, it's going to be completely
Obsolete.
different.
Yeah.
Some guy just called me right before I got on here. I said, look, I'm in production this week, and I got my son coming home with his girlfriend this weekend, and call me next week because I always like listening to how AI can get incorporated into, what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to, use your services or not, but I'll do a Zoom call with it because I'm definitely interested in that kind of stuff. And technology, some people are just scared of it. I just say, look, man, you got to get fear, you got to blow right through that thing. Technology's push
You got to
button.
get on the rocket. And it is a rocket. It's
Oh
taking
yeah.
off and it's going quick.
And that
And
G and
there's
that toothpaste is
AI.
not going back in the bot in that tube, man. That the AI, it's out there. It's not going back. It's here. And
Yep.
just like
We
this,
even cover that inside of our courses too. So AI gets talked in there, David. You'd enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So if you're out there in commercial construction coffee talk land and you were thinking about maybe bettering yourself or maybe it's time that you're getting bored with something and maybe you want to take on another challenge or get another certificate for your wall and know that you're a well-rounded individual, nothing wrong with getting accredited as a project management professional because and like I said, you basically are doing it already. You just kind of
Yep.
have to learn what they want, take the test, get yourself certified. But you're doing project, but every day you get up, whether it's brushing your teeth, making eggs, the dog food, I can tell you everything. I have to plan everything out and
Hmm.
all that stuff. You try to improve it, and it's just simple little tasks. And you'll learn from it, and you'll see where you know where your efficiencies are, and you know what your deficiencies are. And just like, hey, I'm right-handed. I'm really good right-handed, but I'm pretty good left-handed too. I can catch and throw with both hands, and I can score with both hands. Probably, even though I'm stronger with my right than my left. But I'm telling you, if you practice,
Yep.
it's muscle memory, and it's the same thing with any kind of job. It's that repetition of it. It's just like the
Repetition.
trim guys. I think trim and painting are so important in any construction project because trim those guys, they do it every day. Everything is just perfect. They just make it look so easy. And paint, if you don't have a good sheetrock guy or a drywall, and they don't do a good job sanding, and then when the paint gets in there and you get that can make or break the interior of the
Oh yeah.
house. And I have a firm belief that if you're an expert and you do it every day, even though you've been doing it for years, you can still improve upon how much better. But I'm telling you, the skilled labor thing, if you have a clogged toilet, you're not going to call an electrician, you're going to call a plumber, or whatever service that you need to come out and get this done. And but the more
Hey,
that
if
you
we don't
know,
have them, we're all in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. And the
The
more
skilled
they,
laborers, it's we need so much more of that in the industry, at least in construction. I hope that they continue to poke on that and work with everyone because it getting there with a hammer gets you a paycheck just as much as having a white collar. And I can tell you right now, I have more respect for the blue collars because of everything that they do day in and day out to make sure that our country runs.
oh yeah. Hey, I went to the I went to the blue collar thing with my son. He was going to play lacrosse and do all this stuff, and then he hated English and did all that stuff, and they had shop class, and he didn't have the mathematics. And we went down to the school his junior year at the high school with 3,500 kids, and he was a good lacrosse player. And I just said, look, if there's one kid out of these 3,500 people that go to the school, he's the one that you want to stick in here. He's not interested in English. He's not interested in history. He's working with his hands. Put this kid in there. And they didn't want to put him in there. You know what I did? We yanked him out. We kept him home. We homeschooled him for his senior year. He still had all of his buds, but he went and worked in the local garage. He was a waiter and he went to aviation school. He's got his A&P, and now he's set for life. He's got job security. He just got an unbelievable offer, and he just said, "You know what? I like where I'm at right now." And so, but it's unbelievable. But the biggest thing with skilled labor, I talk to parents all the time. I always say, look, if you want to get someone to get into construction, believe me, we need, like in the FAA, there's 600,000 techs that work on airplanes. They're all going to retire. If we don't
Mm-hmm.
find people to go and fill those things, you're not going to be traveling many places because the planes, they have to be maintained. And uh, if you can plant that seed with someone that's between fifth and eighth grade and get them to think about construction, being a welder, being an HVAC tech, being an electrician, being a millwork guy or a contractor or superintendent or a project manager, whatever it might be, uh, you can plant that seed because once they get into high school and they start seeing all these schools, oh, I want to go to Florida State and they've got the commons and the pool and all that stuff. And then they go there and they get that piece of paper that's not worth the paper that's printed on when they could have gone to a 2-year program and learned woodworking, avionics, sheet metal, all that stuff. And uh, and you can either work for a company or work for a company and then go out and start your own company and become an entrepreneur and learn all those things about, hey, you're the captain, you go down with the ship, you're the last one that gets paid. I can go down all the entrepreneurial pros and cons, but that's what business is all about. And but I
Well,
could
and you
tell,
don't have to have a degree in order to walk into pure project manager, and you don't have to have a degree to walk into the mechanic shop or HVAC tech school and all that. I mean, it's pure stepping themselves up and coming out on the side with being similar to it. Project management is a skilled trade. And even the ones that are the skilled trades, hop in here, take the training. Yeah, I promise you, you'll gain something out of it. You'll understand why that project manager is so cuckoo cuckoo and get a little bit better, and you'll be able to speak the lingo with them, and it'll improve yourself without having to go to a 4-year degree.
yeah. When my son, a bunch of his buds, they went to Middle Tennessee State to become Delta pilots. That's where they all went to pilot school, and at least
Yep.
in this neck of the woods. Anyway, the first day when he went to aviation school, mechanic school, one of his buds texted him and said, "Hey, the professor just said that we need more mechanics than we need pilots. So if you want to make the change, you'll make just as good money as they do, and then some. Being a mechanic, if you have your pilot's license and your A&P, you're worth so much more." And he just felt so much better about himself, and he went and got his pilot's license. So it, you know it, you just have to take the bull by the horns and
Yep.
hold on and learn as much as you can. But uh, I told my kid, listen, I told him to become a plumber because everybody drinks water, they take showers, you cook with it. And don't worry about the plumber jokes because when you were running a couple $1 million business, you can write your ticket, you can write where how when, where, how you're going to work, etc. You got life. in the palm of your hands just by, being a skilled, entrepreneur. I told us, look, we'll go find a plumber that doesn't have any kids. You'll become an apprentice. We'll buy his company out and you can take it over and you can, get more people or you can keep it the same size. But he he went the aviation route. But I saw what he did. Believe me, I used to have to drag him out underneath the table, out of his bed to get him to school by 7 o'clock in the morning. And you're looking now, I'm not going to say that your kid's going to be like that, but mine was. But the minute he went to aviation school, it was like a 180. This kid was up in the morning. He wanted to be the first one there in school and all that stuff. I mean, it was like night and day. And
Yeah.
it
You just
so
have to find that trigger for everybody. Everybody has a trigger. Um, Hopefully, we find it sooner in life than later, but everybody has a trigger that makes them get up in the morning. So,
do you think Texas A&M with the 12th man and all that helped also with your project management aspirations? Just that whole, the being an Aggies, it's different than being a Longhorn or a Red Raider. I'm just using all the Texas guys, but you know what I mean, right?
sure, no, there's definitely Texas A&M is a strong background that I have, and my personal upbringing aligned with who Texas A&M is, and so that's where I think I'd only made it about a half mile off the highway whenever I decided, nope, I'm going to Texas A&M, and I visited some of the other schools that I had interest in, and but Texas A&M they have a great program, their construction science program, and it definitely hones in on the project management skills. And but most of their focus is definitely within construction. And this degree or the credential, excuse me, it's across the board. We have tech, we've got higher education in there, we've got the federal stuff going on. We've got healthcare, we got state government. So it's all there. Owners, reps, it's all there. And definitely, I would not trade anything that I did in college. It was definitely well worth it. And it can still be frustrating on the sports field, though. So,
Yeah. Yeah, look, we're the Denver Pioneers. Listen, as a pioneer, you had to go out in the West and settle the tundra out there. The cavalry wasn't going to come save you. You had to do everything yourself. And if there weren't pioneers out there, we would have never settled this land. So I bleed, crimson and gold. I was a Falcon where I went to prep school, and there we were just a little prep school playing all the big high schools in New Jersey, and everybody took us for granted. And we go and knock some of those guys off. But the pioneer thing, it's just always been there where you got to have that attitude. No one, you got to do it yourself. You got to believe in
mhm.
yourself. And not every day is going to be peaches and cream. Some days are going to be much rougher than others. But if
Yep.
as long as you just keep moving, making mistakes, learning from them, and you're positive, you're going to do okay. Some people get it a little quicker than others, but the bottom line is keep moving forward and put the blinders on and make sure that you got a plan. You have a starting point, have an ending point, get the data, look at your data, analyze it, and tweak it where you need to so you can improve down the road. And like I said, I went through it with my kid. And you know what was crazy? I had my kid on my podcast about
Really.
yeah, I had him on there about a year and a half ago before he left Boeing. Anyway, I thought I was going to hear it 20 years later, but he said, Dad, if you and Mom weren't hard on me, I would have never gotten this job at Boeing. And you were right about everything that you said. And I just said, yeah, look, you want to be the first one in, you want to be the last one to leave. Better early than late. Don't try to skip lessons or anything. Make sure that if you don't understand, ask. There's nothing to be ashamed about, for that kind of thing. And uh, and if you like what you do, which is so important, if you have fun at what you do, your days will go so much quicker, and you'll want to get up the next day and keep doing it. So, look, are you gonna win all the games? Heck no! You're gonna lose some games. Some days you're gonna, look, to me, I'd rather have a close game than a 15-0 game. There are W's, they can be ugly or they can be beautiful or they can be just unbelievable memorable. You know, Losses, I don't use that. It's a learning experience. Hey, You lose by one, you lose by 15, you still got the L. So it doesn't matter. Next time you got to learn how you can narrow the gap and then hopefully eventually like DU this weekend. They hadn't beaten Duke since 2017. I didn't
Yeah,
I really I always believe but a lot of people, didn't give them a chance. And anyway, they blew those guys out. I mean, the score was much closer than the whole game was. But
sure.
and you know what's crazy is the difference in a top 20, I don't care what sport you're playing, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, football, a top 20 team, there's not much difference between the number one and the number 20 team. Any given day, those guys can beat you. It's just, how hard, how bad do you want it? And the less mistakes and all those little statistics, shooting percentage, possession, hitting the net, no penalties, all of that stuff. You can look at it all and dissect it, and then you can kind of, as a project manager, you can plan for, that's why I always like talking to athletes, because
Yep.
they understand about winning and losing and how to kind of take what you learn and stick it someplace where you're able to do it, use it down the road. It might not be right away, but you have it there as a foundation to build upon, and you might not ever use it again, but it's there. And so.
Well, and like you said, any given day, I mean, your podcast says it all. If you didn't have your cup of coffee that day, that could be the make and break moment. So,
Yeah, yeah,
or
absolutely.
the sports mentality is what the Wheaties. If you didn't have your Wheaties that day, then so
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, if if you're thinking about it, like I said, reach out to Brooks. He's there for you. He's got a, I know when he started his newsletter and he started putting it out on LinkedIn, and I look at all that stuff. Whenever someone sends me a newsletter, I always subscribe to it if I think it's going to help me. Sometimes I might not get anything out of it, and I'll delete that thing. But some of them I save. I put them in a file and I look at them like, okay, I'm going to check this out a little later. I want to look at more into this. So be inquisitive. And if you're thinking about something, maybe adding a little change into what you're doing, if you're in that construction sector or whatever, being a project manager and getting certified is just it's a blessing in disguise, and it's definitely worthwhile. So I'm going to tell you to go for it. So, any last thoughts as we finish up?
no, I mean it's pure project managers here for you and to support you in any way you want to grow to be a become a project manager or become a better project manager. There's something for everyone, and hope that everybody gets the same that I did while I was taking it myself. And appreciate your time today on Commercial Construction Talk, Coffee Talk, David Corson, and hope we come together soon and discuss some further other aspects of life.
Yeah, I just saw the RCA. They're doing I think Houston is they're doing Houston again. So I'll be down
Are
there.
they?
Yeah,
It was
I
a good
just
event. That was a good
yeah.
event down there, and heck, I did not know about that venue.
No, hey, listen, I don't even live there, and everybody told me that. I didn't even know this place existed where we were there. But no, they're doing Houston again. They just so I just saw that was one of the events, so I'll see you down there. Uh, but
Sounds like a plan.
but thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Uh, any last thoughts before you sign off from Houston?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate all your time, appreciate your insights. Glad we could talk about some sports and some project management, construction, and kind of what's been going on today.
Well, listen, everybody. It's Monday. You got Tuesday. You got Wednesday, Hump Day, Thursday, and TJF. Woohoo! You got March Madness going on, men's, women's. You got college hockey going on. Soon it's going to be the Lax tourney coming up in May. You got the end of the month, April. You got Easter. I got my mother's 85th birthday coming up on the 9th,
Wow.
and I'm going to be moving into my house and. Uh, what an exciting, and like I said, every day is an amazing time. It's an amazing time to be alive. I don't care listen, politically, I don't care where you are. It's just so much going on that
Yep.
I can't even keep up with it. And it's just unbelievable every day what goes on. And uh, you're not going to recognize construction in 5 years. It's going to look completely different than what you're used to. So getting these certifications or, take Brooks at his word. And if you don't want to take my word, take his word. It's definitely a worthwhile thing to investigate. So with that, I'm going to sign up from Sugar Hill, just below the Beaufort Dam on Lake Lanier. Oh, about 25, 30 miles north of downtown ATL, the LA of the South. And Brooks, say goodbye from Houston.
No, appreciate it. Clinton Brooks Herman. We'll talk to y'all next time.
And I will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Brooks, I'll see you in a couple months down in Houston, all right?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.